Climate change is one of the most important issues of our time, with arguably the most potential for destruction. According to the United Nations, we have just over a decade to reverse course on climate change before the damage it causes becomes irreparable. In this essay, I will discuss what climate change is, its causes, the effects it has on the environment, and what can be done to stop it. Industrialization has been a defining factor in world history. Without industrialization, we would not have many of the luxuries we enjoy today. The energy needed to power our lives has to come from somewhere, and fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas allow us to meet that energy demand. However, these sources of energy are no longer the best we have at our disposal, yet we still use them to produce most of the energy that we use. According to NASA, the byproduct released by fossil fuels, which is carbon dioxide, is the leading cause of global warming. There is some debate among politicians about whether global warming is real or a threat, but the scientific consensus is that climate change is both real and a very serious threat, with the potential to drastically alter the world as we know it. The threat climate change poses to humanity is felt the most by people living in the poorest communities, whose carbon footprints are relatively small. Average global temperatures could rise to up to 10 degrees above pre-industrial averages by the year 2100 if we continue to burn fossil fuels on a wide scale. Because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, it traps heat from sunlight in the atmosphere, causing major problems for the environment. Problems of this kind include melting ice sheets, rising sea levels, and more frequent hurricanes. Melting ice sheets are a big deal, as land-based ice melting is directly responsible for the rise of sea level. It is predicted by the end of the century sea level could rise by 4 feet. If that happens, many low-lying areas will be permanently submerged. If climate change goes unchecked, we will also see habitats weakened or destroyed. Consider coral reefs. They are some of the most complex and diverse ecosystems on Earth. The ocean absorbs quite a lot of the carbon dioxide we release into the atmosphere. When that happens, the increased acidity causes coral to die, which leads to the decline of the ecosystems that they support. In short, global warming is bad news for wildlife. Weather patterns will also be affected by climate change. Rainfall will increase in some areas and decrease in others. Arid regions are especially at risk of becoming even more dry than they already are due to lack of rainfall. What is perhaps more threatening is the increase that we've seen over the last 40 years of Category 4 and 5 hurricanes. If we do nothing to decrease our dependency on fossil fuels, this trend will only increase. Some major corporations like Apple and Microsoft are committed to being carbon neutral, which is a big step forward. But it's worth noting that these companies are not carbon neutral outside of the US. Wealthy companies are not going to be the agent of change where global warming is concerned. In fact, many of them benefit from the climate disaster and our continued dependency on fossil fuels. While individuals can reduce their own carbon footprint by reducing, reusing, and driving less, the onus should not be on the people, especially not on those who are not financially privileged enough to be able to make eco-friendly choices. The most powerful thing an individual can do is to vote for candidates, not just for president, who are focused on stopping climate change and are funded by millions of working-class people and not dozens of billionaires. Coincidentally, there is currently a presidential election happening right now. Of the 3 viable candidates, only one of them meets these criteria. And because I don't work for Nicholls State University, I feel no shame in telling you that you should vote for Bernie Sanders on April 4th.